It happened on an ordinary afternoon in a quiet little café on the edge of the city, an afternoon that would end up shaking everyone inside to their core. The café was warm, filled with the smell of fresh bread and roasted coffee beans. People sat at wooden tables, chatting softly, scrolling through their phones, or enjoying a peaceful moment away from the rush of life. But no one knew that, in just a matter of minutes, something would unfold here that no one could ever forget. Because that was the day a millionaire CEO's credit card got declined, and a little girl, the daughter of a struggling single father, stepped forward and did the unthinkable. The characters. James Carter was one of the richest CEOs in the city. People knew him from magazines, interviews, and news headlines. A tall man with a sharp suit and an aura of power, James was used to being in control. His company employed thousands of people, and in business circles, his name commanded respect. But what no one knew was that James had been secretly going through something he had never faced before, something money alone couldn't fix. On the other side of this story was Daniel Hayes, a single dad in his late 30s, wearing a worn-out jacket and carrying years of quiet struggle on his shoulders. His life had not been easy. After losing his wife to illness 3 years ago, Daniel had been raising his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, on his own. Lily was small, with big hopeful eyes and a smile that could brighten anyone's darkest day. She was the kind of child who noticed everything, the sadness in people's eyes, the little details that adults often ignored. And she loved her father fiercely. Daniel had been working 2 jobs just to pay rent and keep food on the table. He never complained, but exhaustion showed in the lines on his face and the calluses on his hands. Lily could see it, even when he tried to hide it. And on this day, their paths crossed with James. The millionaire CEO, in a way that would change all their lives. The cafe was busy but calm. Daniel and Lily sat at a corner table, sharing a single sandwich and hot chocolate. Daniel had told Lily he wasn't hungry, but in truth, he wanted her to have the food because money was tight. At the counter, James Carter stepped up, ordering his usual and expensive pastry and a black coffee. He barely looked at the cashier as he handed over his platinum credit card, the kind that most people only dream of owning. But then, it happened. The cashier swiped the card once. Then again. Then a third time. Each time, the small screen flashed the same words in red letters, declined. For a second, the cafe went silent. Heads turned. People whispered. A millionaire CEO's card, declined? James felt his face heat up. He could sense the judgment in the room. He was a man used to being admired, envied, even feared. But in that moment, he felt something he hadn't felt in years, humiliation. I'll try another card, James muttered. At the corner table, Lily tugged at her father's sleeve. Her little voice was soft but clear. Daddy, he looks sad. Daniel glanced over and saw James, a man who seemed to have everything, standing frozen at the counter, staring at the declined cards. Daniel frowned. He didn't know who James Carter was, not really. He just saw a man drowning in embarrassment. Before Daniel could stop her, Lily hopped down from her chair, carrying the few crumpled dollars she had been saving in her little pink wallet. She walked right up to the counter, past the stunned customers, and placed the money on the counter. I can pay for him, she said simply, looking up at the cashier. The entire cafe gasped. James turned, startled, and his eyes met the gaze of a little girl no older than 8. For a moment, words failed him. The unthinkable. The cashier hesitated, glancing at James. But Lily insisted, her small voice firm. He shouldn't feel bad. Everyone deserves kindness. James felt something stir inside him, something he hadn't felt in a long time. His throat tightened, his eyes burned. The millionaire who owned mansions and yachts, who had sat at tables with world leaders, was standing here, saved by the generosity of a child who clearly had so little. Daniel rushed up, embarrassed. Lily! You don't, he began, but James lifted a hand, stopping him. No, James said, his voice shaking. Let her. The cashier, unsure what else to do, accepted the money and handed James his order. But James didn't care about the coffee anymore. He turned to Lily, bending down to meet her at eye level. Why would you do that for me? He asked softly. Lily's answer was simple. Because my mom used to say, the world gets better every time someone chooses to be kind. Tears welled in James's eyes. He couldn't remember the last time someone had shown him kindness without wanting something in return. The challenges. The three of them ended up sitting together that afternoon. Daniel tried to apologize for his daughter's boldness, but James shook his head. "Don't ever apologize for raising her this way," he said. As they talked, James learned about Daniel's struggles, the long hours, the missed meals, the constant fight to give Lily the life she deserved. James realized that while he had spent years chasing money and power, this single father was fighting for something far more important: love, family, survival. Daniel, in turn, discovered James's truth. The CEO wasn't broke, but his company was under federal investigation for a fraud he hadn't committed. His accounts had been temporarily frozen. His reputation was on the line. He was a man at the top, suddenly brought to his knees. Both men, though worlds apart, shared something in that moment: the feeling of being powerless. That simple act of kindness from Lily sparked something in James. He couldn't forget it. Over the next weeks, he stayed in touch with Daniel and Lily. He visited them, helped Daniel with job opportunities, and even made sure Lily got a scholarship to a better school. But it wasn't just one-sided. Daniel's honesty and humility reminded James of the values he had lost in his climb to the top. He started rebuilding his company with integrity, cutting ties with corrupt partners, and focusing on creating jobs that actually helped families like Daniel's. And every time he felt like giving up, he remembered that moment in the café when an 8-year-old girl, with nothing but a few wrinkled dollars, had shown him more humanity than all the millionaires he had ever known. The message. The story spread across the city. People couldn't believe it when they heard how a child had done what no adult dared to: step forward, choose compassion, and remind a powerful man of what truly matters. In the end, James rebuilt not only his business but also his heart. Daniel found stability and pride, knowing he had raised a daughter whose kindness could change the world. And Lily? She grew up knowing that sometimes, the smallest act of love can shake the tallest towers. Final inspiring note. So remember this: life will test us in ways we never expect. Sometimes it will be money. Sometimes it will be pride. Sometimes it will be the weight of survival. But in the end, what people remember isn't what you own, it's how you made them feel. One little girl reminded a millionaire of that truth, and maybe, just maybe, she reminded all of us too. Call to action for YouTube. If this story touched your heart, I want to hear from you. What would you have done in that cafe? Would you have stepped forward like Lily? Backhand index pointing right. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might inspire someone else today. Backhand index pointing right. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. Be kind always for more powerful stories that remind us of the goodness in humanity. Because at the end of the day, kindness doesn't cost a thing, but it can change everything.